Hello and welcome to part 7. Let's start with a little faceplate update. This is the front faceplate. I want to say it does look better in person right now than on camera. It's not done. It does need several more coats. Sanding between the coats to disappear those decals more. This is it. This is the front, and when it's all said and done, when all the knobs are on and it's in the cabinet, it's going to look great. In this video, I'm going to be soldering everything in the amp besides the pilot light, power cord, and the fuse, because they can't be soldered in until this is ready. The next video is going to be the more satisfying video of when it all comes together. The faceplates go on, the knobs go on, and then we get to turn it on, check the voltages, put the tubes in, bias the tubes, and it'll be an opportunity to see how it sounds and to address anything I don't like. So stick around while we get one step closer to completion and solder the rest of this amp. Today we're going to get started on soldering this side of the board and then work our way into the power section, and the very last thing will be the 6.3 volt heater wires. So I'm going to start on V1 and just go down this way. Okay, so we got the plates are always red, the cathodes are always white, and the grids are orange, except for the black shielded cable. So that's the color scheme on this side. So we're going to have the grid going over to the reverb return jack over here. For the phase inverter, we have a 470K going to the grid for the grid stopper. Alright, I got the power tubes wired up. The primary wires for the output transformer are not soldered in yet. I might change this a little bit. but they're out of the way. We got the red wires for the 630 volt. The white and red are for the 550 volt. The center tap's already been grounded. That's the red and yellow. You just can't see the yellow. I've got the filter caps grounded here. I got the ground going from here. That's all grounded. This lug is for the virtual center tap. So what I'm going to be doing next is wiring up the rectifier. So I'm going to use the reds and the yellows, not using the white and red. Oh, we got the grid stoppers on the power tubes. The screen resistors on the power tubes are on the board, along with the 1 ohm resistors to ground to make it easy biasing. And I think I mentioned earlier, I'm doing the 6.3 volt last, after I get the whole thing wired in. So I'll be doing the rectifier, and then I'm going to move on, run the wires to the bias tap and to node A from the rectifier. This red wire is the center tap for the OT. This little red wire is going to connect the first filter cap to this node here. 1K 3 watt resistor going here after I put the wires on. Then add the filter caps. Okay, so we got, this is not soldered yet. I got the 5 volt on pins 2 and 8, and this is going to connect to pin 8, which goes over to here. I hooked it on, but I did not solder it.
And also for now, just in case you're wondering, these are the, I think I mentioned before, the 550 volt center tap that I'm not using. For now, I just have them zip tied out of the way.
The 630 volts center tapped is hooked up to pins 2 and 4. So next I'm going to solder these. All 3 wires are hooked up. And then add the drop-in resistor.
I'm going to let that cool down a little bit before I do the other side. It's time to vacuum this thing out after it. Very soon. All the stuff you see will be vacuumed out. All the flux flakes. So it's going to look much nicer when it's cleaned up.
Apologies for some of the video I took earlier. It just didn't turn out as good as I wanted it to. Blurry, out of focus. Just the shots were not that good during the soldering so far. So I'll try to do better, but I just wanted to recap where we're at before moving on. There's the primary output transformer wires. Those need to be soldered in. The speaker jack needs to be soldered. The foot switch and the negative feedback switch need to be soldered in with the filter caps. Then I'm going to add the 6.3 volt going down the line here, except for the pilot light. And that's about it. Then this thing is basically ready to roll. Also, I thought I had videoed some things that I didn't get, and so I just wanted to mention, before I did any soldering on the tube sockets, I first soldered all the jumpers between pins 4 and 5 on the 9-pin sockets. It's much easier to do them first, in my opinion, before adding any wires. So let's continue with the OT primaries and the speaker jack. Wanted to mention there's a ground lug over here that's going to grounding for the reverb driver, grounding for the reverb, the foot switch and all that, along with the ground for the speaker. Oh, and I did solder the output transformer primaries. I decided to twist the wires for the sake of lead dress. Next we'll be finishing up the reverb and the negative feedback. If anyone was wondering, this is the spec sheet for the output transformer. So the primaries are green and yellow. A lot of times they're brown and blue, and the speaker, the secondary, the 8 ohm would be, let's say, green and black. But on this transformer, as you can see, it is right. This is what we got going on over here. The grounds loop around. Everything is grounded to this lug. The speaker jack wire comes over to the same lug. The RCAs and the foot switch jack are all connected and go to the same ground. So the reverb return goes to the tip of the foot switch with a 220K resistor to ground. So everything is soldered. I will say the camera kind of makes it look like this is closer than it is for some reason. But there is enough room. In the future, I actually would modify this layout. This is going to work just fine, and I'm going to go ahead and wire up the negative feedback switch. For the negative feedback, I'm going to run a wire from the 2.7K resistor here over to this switch, which is a single pull double throw mini switch wired up as an on-off over to here. And that'll take care of the negative feedback switch and the whole deal. The negative feedback is wired up, ready to go. The last thing to be wired up will be the 6.3 volt filament wires. I think I'm going to do those first and then add the filter caps last. For the filament wiring, I'm going to be using this green wire. It is not solid core. It is what I have, and it works fine. So I'm going to go ahead and use this up. And also, just as a note about this, I like to go from the, I'm going to be going from the transformer over to the output tube first. I'll double back to the pilot light, but I like the fact that the pins have 2 holes, plenty of room to have the wire connect here. It's pins 2 and 7 on the output tubes. So I'll be going to this output tube first and just go down the line. So I've gotten a start. I've gone from transformer over to the output tube. There's still a hole open on the output tube. to go from here to there. And then I doubled back to the pilot light, but for now it's just out of the way. Now that these are on, I will twist them, measure them on the next tube, set them in there, cut the neck, get them to length, strip them, the whole thing. So I twist them as I go. And that's it. And I swoop down. As usual, congrats if you're still here. Like and subscribe. Stick around for the completion of this amp, and I will see you next time.